All right, go for it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and begin the weekly sync. So we'll start with demos. Um, who would like to begin? Which pair?
I think we can start, Jenna and I can present if that works.
Okay.
Cool. Let me share my screen. You guys able to see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. So this week, what we needed to do was essentially create a check mark that has some like special functionalities. So the user should be able to basically check whenever they have purchased an item, and the item should stay checked for a period of 24 hours. And whenever the end of the 24 hours come through, then the item unchecks itself after the 24 hours. So as you can see, like we have that set up here. And then if you click on pickles, for example, you check it, it's going to stay checked. And then if you try to uncheck it, it actually should not. It should not get unchecked. So that's a little bit odd. Okay, so that's an issue because that's not.
Are you in the right version? Because I remember testing it. It would not uncheck.
Okay, so it would not uncheck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I think I'm probably not using the right version. Let me just try and open a different one. This is fun.
Live demos. That's what the
Yes.
running joke always is.
Yeah, I can smell fear.
Yeah, the code knows. The code knows.
Yeah, it reminds me of my printer I had in high school. Like every time I needed to turn in a paper, it just dies on me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, every time. I'm like, this cannot be real.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how well you prepare.
But like I have all my windows open, I should be good to go. Yeah. So okay, so now I know the demo demon is real. So so okay, so now if I click in and I check it here, it does not uncheck. Okay, so I'm not sure why that was happening. Now if I go into the database, I kind of just wanted to show you guys that I have paper checked as true here. And if I was to make it show that it's the last purchase was before today, I go back and I just do like the 3rd. Then if I update it, then the check mark gets unchecked here. If I was to check it again, it turns back to true as well and re-updates the date last purchase. Yeah, so that kind of shows the functionality of the button. And I remember Nisha was asking, like, I wonder like how the code works or why we made it that way. So I can kind of run that down very quickly. Try if I can. There we go. So obviously we added an input button as a checkbox, and then on change you have the handle change function, which is here. And then the checked is the checked state. The check state actually comes directly from the database data. So when we have an action into the app, it first updates the database, and then the database brings back the data onto the page. Okay, so that's where that checked state is coming from. And we essentially are using two functions. One is the handle change, which is going to set the checked state to false or true, depending on whether we have that functionality implemented or not. And then the other function is the one that unchecks the check mark after the 24 hours. And because both of those functions are dependent on whether or not the time is the 24 hours, we extrapolate or abstracted that not function, but functionality to a separate function called checked time, which sets the time of yesterday and compares it to the date last purchase, and then returns a true or false value depending on whether we're past the 24 hours. And that only happens if there is a date last purchased time already. Because if you first introduce an item, it's not going to have any date last purchase. That's set to null. So that's kind of why we're having the issue, Nisha, because I hadn't added that to that part of the function. But yeah, so that's kind of how that works. Any questions or feedback or comments? Or yeah.
Oh, and I'll just repeat the feedback I had, which was you can see there's commonality in uncheck after time and handle change.
Mhm.
That's just sort of something you can work on. Think about when you look at your code, when you see things that happen all the time, you probably want to pull out a function. So just looking at it, you could probably make a function that says like toggle state, and it'll take like a Boolean value
Mhm.
of whether it cares about if the state is checked or unchecked, and handle change will call the same function. Uncheck after item time will call the same function, but handle change will pass in false, and uncheck after time will pass in true, and it'll basically use the same logic there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic work.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are doing really well. Okay. All right. And would the next pair like to present their demo? No?
I can do it. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. All right, for our issue this week, it was actually a pretty simple one. It was just that if the list was empty, there would be a message telling you that the list is empty, and also there'd be a button for you to click. And then after you add your first item, then it would disappear. So if you just opened it and your shopping list is empty, and click on add your first item, you can add something. And when you go back to your list, it's no longer there. So not a super complex feature, but just introduces the user when they first see it.
Awesome.
Sorry, I was muted. Nice. Yeah, just because it wasn't, super complex, it's still an accomplishment. And that's what people always tell me whenever I'm, giving a demo and I'm like, oh, this change I made is really small, not like super complicated, but it's always something to be proud of. So nice work. And Megan, there isn't a learning module this week, is there?
Correct. Yep. We'll
Okay.
do retro instead.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of like all over the place
No,
right now.
you are all good.
I just flew in last night from the retreat
Oh, right.
and didn't sleep a lot, so a little frazzled. So let me just see. Okay, so it looks like next on the agenda is the retro. So I've got a link to the board right here, and I've never actually used Easy Retro before, Megan. So does this look right? Okay,
Looks
cool.
great.
Okay, so I feel like I was born for this because I just took a Scrum course. So this will be my first time, actually kind of exercising what I've learned. So as always with the retro, we are going to start out with things that we liked about this past sprint. Doesn't have to be anything major, just anything that anything that stood out to you guys as like a positive or a win. And I will set a timer. I'm sorry, does Easy Retro have like a built-in timer, or do I need to like grab my phone?
I thought there was one on it actually. On settings. No. I just put a timer on my phone.
Yeah,
Okay,
same. That's what I usually do.
one moment. Let me just grab my phone.
I think I would.
Okay. And can everyone see my screen all right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's see. 1 minute here. All right, so I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes, and you guys can just go ahead and enter anything you thought was a win or a positive about the last sprint, and then we will move on to the next column. So I will start the countdown right now.
Sorry, Xavier. Do you mind resending the link? I lost connection.
Yeah,
Thank you.
1 second. Okay, here you go. And I'll restart the timer.
Maybe we should drop it in the Slack too, just in case.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I dropped it in the Slack.
Thanks.
Okay, we've got 2 minutes. And if at any point you guys just want to, indicate that you're done, you can just type done in the chat if you want. Okay, got about a minute left. Okay, we are at time. All right, did everyone get theirs in? Cool. All right, so let's just go ahead and go over these. So number one, enjoyed the virtual chat we had. I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to make it to that one, guys. I was busy with my move, but everything is finally done. So I will definitely be attending the next one. Yeah, I'm sure that was a good opportunity for everyone to sort of just kind of hang out and get to know each other, since we don't really spend a lot of time together outside of our syncs and working on our projects. Great work from everyone resolving issues in the time frame. yeah, everyone has done a fantastic job so far. I'm really pleased to see all the progress you guys have made since we first began. Getting more confident and better when giving our demos. I was actually just thinking about that because yeah, the first couple times everyone was a little nervous presenting their work. You know, a little awkward at times, but I think we finally sort of found our we sort of found our groove in a way, and everyone seems to be more comfortable showing what they have worked on. I like that I was able to get to know everybody more. That's a good one as well. We are all collaborative people. Thanks, Nina, for being so communicative with your Slack updates. Helps the mentors get more insight into where you guys are at. And again, folks getting more confident with their demos. That is awesome. Cool. All right, but not everything can be perfect. So let's continue by listing some things that we didn't really like about the sprint. What could have been better? What sort of constructive criticisms do you guys have for the mentors or even each other going forward? And how can we just make the next sprint an even better one than this one? And I will start the countdown again, and then you guys can just enter any thoughts you may have. So I'm going to start that right now. And again, if you finish early or just don't have anything to add, you can just type done in the channel or in the Zoom chat. About a minute and a half. One minute on the clock. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of dones. Is that everyone? Okay. Okay. All right, so it looks like we've just got a couple in the disliked column. That's fine. I always have trouble, coming up with things that I didn't like about a sprint, especially if it was one that went particularly well. So the first one, has pairing gotten easier since the last retro? I don't know. How do we feel about that? Any thoughts?
All you folks pairing? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'd say that I had a good experience. I don't want to say better, but I liked it better. Because I really enjoyed the mob programming tool. It came in very super handy and made
Isn't it
things a
great?
lot easier. It's great. I have nothing bad to say. I'm glad I never had to experience not having it. So
Same here. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I guess if the pairing has gotten easier for you guys, that's definitely a good thing. I think that could indicate that you're getting more comfortable working together. You know, two heads are better than one. I have just recently found out that pairing and mobbing is not actually the standard for programming. I thought that was just how everyone did it. I think it probably should be because it's highly efficient, in my opinion. A lot easier to solve a problem if you have multiple people working on it, and it's easier to kind of minimize distractions too. If everyone is kind of in the same call, working on the same problem. Do we want to have another coffee chat this week? I think that we should. I wasn't actually sure um, if it was a recurring thing on the calendar, but yeah, I definitely think we should go ahead and schedule another one. Interested to see what you guys think.
I'm up for it.
Cool. And yes, Jason, it is a great tool to spread knowledge. At the presentation we gave at my retreat, we talked about how it improves group memory, which basically just means that, it's easier to kind of retain knowledge if you've got multiple people. If someone forgets, someone else will remember, and you can kind of remind each other. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to action items. What happened during our last coffee chat? Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I wasn't there. So how did that go? Just out of curiosity.
What did we talk about? Was I there? God, it's all.
Yeah, it was pretty like unstructured. It was mostly just like casual time to chat about how our weeks are going. I think we talked about like how did we all get into tech, just sort of anything.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I would definitely like to, make that a recurring thing. Okay. Now, action items. So let me go ahead and wait a minute. So, okay, I'm so sorry. So Megan, for the action items, at my job, the way we kind of do that is we sort of like group some of the previous like cards together and sort of categorize them into we find ones that are related and we kind of like categorize them, and we use that to sort of inform what the action items are. Is that kind of similar to what we would be doing here? Are we going to be like voting on any of these? I don't really remember how it went last week.
Yeah, so last time we're kind of doing it a little bit differently this time, which is totally fine. But last time we voted on like which topics we wanted to discuss in each column, and then went through those and sort of added action items as we were discussing things. This time it definitely seems like there are fewer like action item-y kinds of things, so we can just sort of talk about it as a group if that's more productive than having like more timer time.
Cool. So any thoughts on action items, things we want to sort of focus on going forward into the next sprint?
It sounded like scheduling another coffee chat is one.
Okay, I'll go ahead and add that. Anything else?
It's not an action item per se, just something that I just thought about. But I don't know if it would be cool if we kind of shared some of the projects that we're working on, kind of like in our own like Slack channel, because I feel like we're kind of getting really good at getting the tickets resolved. So like that work gets done a lot faster than it used to at the beginning. So if we wanted to like collaborate with different things, not that I have projects that I have to share, but I don't know if maybe like Nisha, Jeff, or like any of you guys mentors have projects that you're working on, you're having like wanting to get people to work on with you guys. I think that'd be cool to like share that with the group. So yeah.
Cool. So you mean like personal projects that are kind of unrelated to the okay, that could be a good one. So think about collaborating on personal projects. That'd be a good idea. You know, it would
Or even just like
give us...
sharing them
Okay, let me edit this.
to be like
Think about
almost like a mini
collaborating.
demo. Like, this is what I'm working on. Want to help?
Um, okay. Anything else before we move on to kudos? Okay. All right. Well, we can go ahead and move on. So kudos. So like anything you want to call out, anything that stuck out to you, you just want to kind of give someone some positive feedback. Do you think we should set a timer for this one?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I will set a timer for another 3 minutes, starting now.
Mr. Spittle, you all know how to make you feel old. Certainly the kids like this generation, they never say Mr. and Mrs. It's always like first name. So I want to say this is the first time I've ever been called Mr. Spittle, I think. Which is fine.
We got about a minute and a half. Twenty seconds. Okay. Right. Looks like we've got a good amount of kudos. So thanks, Nina, for being so communicative with your Slack updates. Helps the mentors get more insight into where y'all are at. Thank you, Nina. Appreciate Mr. Spittle for sharing knowledge nuggets. Didn't know I needed. We're just going to call you that from now on. Shout out to Nina and Jeff for leading demos this week. Excellent work, you guys. And thanks to all the mentors for their availabilities and willingness to help. You're welcome. I feel like I haven't been super helpful over the past couple of weeks, but hopefully now that my schedule is clear going forward, I will be able to, be around more for like code reviews and things like that. And yeah, Megan and Jason, you guys have done fantastic jobs. And yeah, thank you. Thanks, Nina, for adding comments in your PR. Very glad to be surrounded by my fellow Collabies for being so proficient at coding. I learn something new every time I collaborate. That's great to hear. I mean, obviously, that's the reason that we have the Collab Lab in the first place, so that everyone can learn something new and learn how to, gain experience working on a team. I was just talking with Nina last night about how it's really good that you guys get to have experience working on a team so that when you do start applying for jobs, that's often a question that you get asked. That was something that I was asked when I was interviewed at Zapier. And I was, kind of ashamed to say, no, I've never actually, worked on a team of developers. So it's great that you had that experience. And that's definitely something that you'll be able to like put on a resume and brag to hiring managers about. Thanks, Xavier, for introducing us to Mob. Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to tell as many people about it as possible. In fact, I think I've been shilling it so much they should probably just start paying me at this point. I don't think I've ever had to really do pairing without that tool because we started using it almost immediately after I started at Zapier, and it's a game changer. And I appreciate everyone's communication across our pair teams. Yes, absolutely. It's great that you guys are such open communicators. And obviously that's really important, especially if you're like working remotely on a team of developers. It's always great to make sure everyone is on the same page and has access to the same information. All right. Okay, so that is that for the retro. Now I think next we have to discuss the issues for the upcoming sprint. Actually, I should probably share my screen again. Okay. So sorry, 1 second. So it is issues 9 and 10, right, Megan? Okay.
I think so. Should be.
All right. Okay, so issue 9, as a user, I want to be alerted when I'm entering an empty item or an item that's already on my list. So users shouldn't be able to add an empty item to their list or add the same item twice. If they try to do this, we need to show them an error message that explains the problem. And then this way we'll prevent some clutter in their list. So these are the acceptance criteria. Show an error message if the user tries to submit an empty item. Show an error message if the user tries to submit a new item that is identical to an existing name. For instance, if the list contains apples and the user adds apples. Show an error message if the user tries to submit a new item that matches an existing name with punctuation and casing normalized. For instance, if the list contains apples and the user adds apples with weird capitalization or punctuation. And finally, the user's original input is saved in the database. And I don't think we're supposed to go over the notes really, but I guess so. There are a couple of ways to approach this task. If you're not sure how to begin, ask your mentors for advice, and that's what we're here for. Any questions about that issue? Okay. All right. So we've got issue number 10. As an item, I want my estimated next purchase date to be computed at the time my purchase is recorded in the database, so the app can learn how often I buy different items. So in order to advise users about when to purchase things, the app needs to be able to calculate that guess and store it in a future date. The calculate estimate function from the shopping list utils module will help us know how many days in the future a purchase should happen. In order to use calculate estimate, we need to know how many days have passed since the time the item was last purchased. So the acceptance criteria for this one just has these four. So when the user purchases an item, the item's date next purchase property is calculated using the calculate estimate function and saved to the Firestore database. Date next purchase is saved as a date, not a number. And for the next one, a get days between dates function is exported from dates.js and imported into firebase.js. So this function takes two JavaScript dates and returns the number of days that have passed between them. And there are these notes on the issue. Firestore returns dates as special objects called timestamps. You'll need to convert the timestamp to a JavaScript date in order to work with it and complete this feature. The timestamp object has a to-date method. See the Firestore docs. For calculating the time between JavaScript dates, comparing and manipulating JavaScript dates is notoriously tricky. Here's a hint. All date objects have a getTime method that returns a representation of that date in milliseconds. And for calculating the next purchase date, the shopping list utils module should already be installed in your project. The module exports calculate estimate, which accepts three arguments, which are previous estimate, the last estimated purchase interval, days since last purchased, the number of days that have elapsed between the last purchase date and now, and you'll have to figure out how to calculate the argument. And finally, total purchases. So that's the total number of purchases made for the item. Right, so I think that's it for the issues. It's just those two as far as I'm aware. And I believe that's it. Was there anything else that we needed to go over for this
We'll have
scene?
to assign pairs to the
Oh,
issues.
right. Okay, right. Okay. So let me actually reopen those. I totally forget how to, okay, reopen.
I've never used that function.
Oh, I use that hotkey all the time. What is it?
Was that in
Shift
your
T?
file?
Yes.
And what's the
Reopen,
hotkey
close
again?
tab.
Command
It
Shift
is-
T.
Yeah.
Shift T.
Okay. So I think last time we just kind of let the Collabbies decide which issue they wanted to work on. Is there anyone in pair that's particularly interested in doing 9?
Do we know what the pairs are for this week? Should we have the
Uh,
project brief? I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know if you all know who you're pairing with.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm totally forgot where to find the project brief.
Oh, thanks, Nina. Jeff and Nina, Jenna and Nisha. It's like a
Okay.
tongue twister every time.
Thank you,
The
Nina.
project brief is just at the top level of the repo.
Okay.
Kind of like a README.
So yeah, anyone, does this seem particularly interesting to either group? I think you're muted, Nina.
Oh no, I was just talking to myself. So
Oh.
no, I don't have a preference.
Oh,
Mini,
sorry.
mini, mo. I don't.
Okay. So okay, how about Jeff and Nina work on this one? Is that okay? You guys are cool with that? Okay, excellent. So Jenna and Nisha can take number 10.
Can you add them to the assignees for the issue?
Yes. Sorry, one second. I don't use GitHub very often.
Oh no, it's all good. It's on the right in that column. Yeah.
How do I? Can I edit this?
Oh, actually, you might not be logged in. It's okay. Here, I can.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize I wasn't logged in. Shit. What was my password? Incorrect. I think I have it in one password. Bear with me. I'm sorry, you guys.
Do you want to move your or stop sharing your screen for a second? I don't know if it's gonna show all your secrets. There you go.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. This sync is so clunky, you guys. I'm not really used to
No,
the
you're doing
awesome.
great.
It's awesome. It's great. It's great.
One thing that I've learned from doing a lot of like workshops and presentations is like the silence always feels longer as the person facilitating it than it actually does for the people in the meeting. So you're good.
Okay, signed in. All right. All right. So we said that Nina and Jeff are working on this one, correct? What's your username, Jeff? Thank you. Okay. All right. And Nisha and Jenna. Oh, sorry. What's your username, Nisha? Yeah, Nisha. I was just there we go. Jenna. Okay, cool. So everyone's assigned. And was there anything else that we needed to go over?
I think that's it, unless anybody has any other topics they wanted to talk about.
Okay, cool. So yeah, if you guys don't have anything else you'd like to talk about, that should do it for our sync. Hope that was good for everyone. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you work on next week in the upcoming sprint. And as always, feel free to reach out to any of us if you're having any questions or if you're struggling with anything at all tackling these issues.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.